In last week's video lecture, you learned a little bit about email basics, how to provide and request information, and how to take action. You also learned a little bit about how to maximize the use of your subject line and write emails for smartphones. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about content, starting with emails in college, and then I'll talk a little bit about how you can apply these same concepts to emails in any workplace. To go along with our netiquette lecture, email mistakes to avoid. One big problem, not identifying yourself, using an unclear email address or including no signature. Sometimes I get emails and a student will say, "Hi, I really need a recommendation, thanks." And I have no idea who wants the recommendation. Another mistake to avoid, even with your professors, is being too informal, using too many abbreviations, and forgetting that there is a shift key and that you should capitalize the first letter in a sentence. And finally, you don't want to flame. No matter how angry you are at your instructor, at an employee, at your boss, you do not write in an angry or abusive manner. These things can come back to haunt you. Next, you're going to see an actual email that was sent to a high school math teacher. This was the subject line. It says statistics with a lot of extra S's. "Yo, Master P, word on my street is you gonna have a 6 statistics class after school. Is that for Rizzle?" P.S. Sean is freaking out about his math grade. Is this the impression you want to make on your math teacher? No, I am not making this up. This was actually sent from a student to his math teacher. Now, is he trying to be funny? Yeah. Is this the most professional thing to do? No. The math teacher in question was not impressed. Here's a better way to do this, especially if you're a high school student approaching his senior year and looking for teachers who are going to write him college recommendations. Subject, AP Statistics. "Dear Miss P, I have heard that you will be holding an AP Statistics course after school this fall. Is this true? I would be very interested in participating." Notice I've left off the PS. Really, that isn't any of the student's business. That's Sean's business to share that he's freaking out about his math grade. Now you might be thinking, ooh, now he sounds like he has a stick up his you-know-where and he sounds really fake. Well, is it professional? Is it formal? Is it going to make a better impression on the instructor? Probably. With professors, it's better to err on the side of too formal rather than too informal. Let's look at a situation where you're probably angry. You've gotten a low grade and you don't understand what the professor was thinking. She must be nuts. You want her to reconsider the score, which is a nice way of saying change my grade, and you decide to send an email so the request is in writing. This is a good idea to set up an email trail whenever you have some sort of grade appeal. Here's one option, which I have simply labeled all kinds of wrong. Clearly the student knows how to make things capitalized, because at the end we get the dreaded all caps, "When will you," letter U, "be in your office?" Have you signed your name? Nope. Anywhere in this email does it explain why the essay deserved a higher grade other than "I worked really hard"? Well, I'll lose my financial aid. This is an appeal that students often make to professors, but professors generally won't change your grade unless there's been some mistake with the quality of your work. Most professors tear their hair out when they see the letter U instead of the word Y-O-U. And, speaking as a professor, I can say we just love it when people say, "When will you be in your office?" You might be thinking, well, that's because you're never in your office hours. But official office hours are on the course syllabus. This sort of all caps yelling, "When will you be in your office?" often signals to the professor that the student in question has never looked at the course syllabus, and has no idea when posted office hours are. Here's a better way to approach this scenario. Hi, Professor so-and-so. I worked really hard on Essay 2, so I was surprised to see that I got a 67%. I would like to come to talk to you about my grade and what I did wrong. Can I come by at 1 p.m. during your office hours on Wednesday? Full name. As a professor, I know this student is upset. I would like to come to talk to you about my grade. No, you don't want to come talk to me. You really want to come and yell at me. But you're saying this all very nicely. You've clearly looked at the course syllabus. You know I'm supposed to be in office hours at 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And I can send you back a very polite email. Hi, so-and-so. I would love to discuss your grade with you. 1 p.m. Wednesday is perfect. See you then. What this email does is it establishes a very calm tone, and it's very specific. 1 p.m. Wednesday, my essay, let's talk. You want to use this same approach in the workplace. When you're scheduling meetings, when you're inquiring about a raise or a promotion, you don't want to say, hi, I don't understand why Jenny got a raise when I've worked way harder and I only got 1.3%. When will you be in your office to talk about this? This is not going to help with your situation. It would be much better to say, dear boss, when would be convenient for you to discuss my recent raise? Sincerely, me. Use the same approach when you're responding to performance evaluations. If you think that you've been evaluated unfairly, it doesn't help anything to fire off an email that says, you're an idiot. Didn't you see all the work I did? You're just jealous because I have a master's degree and you don't. Not going to help anything. You also want to be polite, calm, straightforward, and specific when you're asking for project status updates. You know that your employees are behind, but you don't say, where the heck is the report? You say, please, could you give me a status update on the project? Remember, we're trying to get this done by Friday. And you have to be calm and polite even when you have very difficult clients and customers yelling at you in all caps, threatening to get you fired, threatening to take their business elsewhere. You have to be professional because all of this email is saved somewhere. You can delete it, you can try and recall it, you can go and try and remove it from someone else's computer. There is an electronic trail. These emails can be retrieved. So if you're abusive to your boss when asking about a promotion, why would you get one? If you're rude and asking your team for project status updates, they're less likely to offer up the information that you want. So yeah, it's really hard to be polite when you're angry, when someone is breaking all the rules of netiquette in an email to you. You take the higher ground, you be the professional. And on a final note, I wanted to talk a little bit about using email in your job search, because increasingly people ask for cover letters almost in an email. Here are some tips for writing an e-cover letter. Have a traditional letter that you would send on paper and create a shorter version. Remember, people like to scan emails. At the very beginning, mention the job title and any number of the position. I am applying for the position of Associate Architect, job number PA201. In just 4 to 6 sentences, describe your top qualifications and why you're interested in the job. Refer to any attachments like a resume by the file name. And by this I mean say specifically, I have attached my resume as a Word file, jsmithresume.doc. The reason I say this is because if your resume gets downloaded and sent somewhere, it's very easy to then match it back to your original email. Who's J. Smith? Oh, person searches through the email inbox, finds the file name right there in your email cover letter. Be sure to sign your full name and include your contact information. Rather than saying you can reach me, blah, 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 just say sincerely, J. Smith, and then underneath it put your phone number, your email address, any other contact information you want to use. Your goal here is to get the email cover letter to fit in a single computer screen. You don't want people to have to scroll too much. You can attach your full letter. The email cover letter is just to get someone interested enough to give you a second look. Hopefully these tips will prove useful to you somewhere down the road when you are looking for that professional job.